Welcome to my second Ode to DC YouTube video. My first DC Ode to DC video was really me more of doing a sort of thank you letter. I was kind of in a depressed time, and it just felt right to say thanks to DC, some of its work, some of its people, and just the overall DC entertainment company. Not just the comic books or the TV shows, but overall DC. This video is kind of more of the DC Extended Universe movie series. So far, as of now, there's 3 films, and all 3 films have made $2.282 billion inside the box office in just 3 films. And yeah, so far I can say that I've liked all 3 of them so far. You know, back in 2013 when Man of Steel came out, I didn't really know it was the first film in the extended universe. And to be honest, I'm not that big of a Superman fan. Part of me kind of feels like he's a little overrated and he's a little overpowering sometimes. But the way they did the movie, I'm a fan of the Richard Donner movies back from the 70s and 80s, the first 2 obviously. And I just liked how it was kind of like a rough reboot it was like an up-to-date reboot to those movies, especially Superman 2. And more than anything, I liked how it gathered around the concept of Superman being an actual alien. Not only that, but the way that the humans responded in Metropolis and all over the world in the movie is pretty much how they would act in today's society if said powerful alien, let alone 4 of them, came to our planet, let alone especially one of them living in our planet in hiding all these years. Just the way they capture that moment, you know, the way they, again, rebooted my favorite Superman movies, I couldn't not like the movie. So I walked out of that movie pleased watching Man of Steel. Fast forward 3 years later, now we know that it's the DC Extended Universe. Now they're finally getting the ball rolling with some movies coming out, not just 1 every 3 years, but now 2 per year. And the first one in line was the overhyped and, in my opinion, one of the best comic book films out there, if not the best, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. I liked how it was basically they kind of explained it before the movie. I liked how it was really not really more of a versus and fighting style. It was really more of a versus of the mind sort of thing. And I definitely got behind that. I definitely loved the whole Batman and Superman in one live action film. Loved the first introduction to Wonder Woman in the 21st century, Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman. All those characters getting their first debut film introduction. The way Jesse played Lex Luthor was amazing. I thought he captured the psychopath again in the real world perfectly. I thought it did a great job continuing the human alien aspect that Man of Steel started off with. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. Unlike a lot of people, when I first heard the announcement, I decided to... at first I noticed that there was a pattern with the DC movies. That somebody will make a film announcement of said actor or said crew member working on said film. A lot of the people online or just in the overall media wouldn't really be too kind about it at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they would see the movie for themselves and then just realize, holy crap, they were actually perfect for that role. I kind of had an idea that this was going to be part of that pattern. So I was gonna give Ben Affleck the chance. I had a feeling a lot of people would end up liking him as Batman as well. Next, you know, everybody sees it, and for like one of the few occasions, you actually saw a vast majority of the internet actually apologize for bashing Ben Affleck for playing Batman, to the point that even some, if not a lot of people, are now saying that he is the best movie adaptation of Batman that they've seen thus far. Story-wise, I thought the great. I thought. I mean, I saw the. I've only seen the theatrical cut so far, but I thought it was just a great film. I didn't. I mean, I think it had some editing flaws, like everybody says, but all in all, it was a great story. If I ever had a problem with any of the DC Extended Universe movies, or for any movie, it would have been Lois Lane in Man of Steel. I thought her character was a little too much of a bitch to be Lois Lane, and but it wasn't too much of a problem for me to kind of lash on and just hang on to it. But it was a problem I had, but a very, very minor one at that. And Batman vs Superman just perfectly eradicated that problem while not changing her character completely. I like that, so it kind of eradicated the one problem I had with the DC Extended Universe in just its second film. Again, the portrayal of the villain, I liked how they did Doomsday. Some people, the person next to me kind of said that they kind of killed off Doomsday a little too fast in the movie. I kind of disagree. I mean, we kind of all saw that he was getting more powerful as time went on, let alone the more time people tried attacking him, the more he gained power. He was becoming a super powerful being, super fast. You kind of had to eliminate him right then and there. Otherwise, he was going to be almost completely indestructible. He almost fought against the kryptonite, and Superman's strength, both of which from the planet that his one weakness is from, seeing as how he's obviously from General Zod. I thought that was great. I had no problems with Dawn of Justice whatsoever. I didn't mind seeing Batman's origin story once again, whereas again, the guy next to me did have a problem with that. He's saying we don't need every incarnation showing Batman's story. This one kind of gave a different approach, and with the whole Excalibur Easter egg and just paying tribute to the actual scene of Batman's parents getting shot, like paying homage to an actual movie that was in the theaters at the same time, not Excalibur, but I want to say it starts with an M. I can't think of the actual name, but it was on the side as a movie poster, and in some incarnation of the comic books that said movie posters in the actual comics. So I really didn't mind it. I never really do mind seeing Batman's parents' death. In my opinion, I think we've only seen that really twice, but heard about it maybe another time. So this being the only second time we're seeing this in a matter of 8 years, it wasn't that too bad for me. Maybe not even 8 years, 11 years. So over a decade, we've seen the same thing. But it's a way more different approach than how Batman Begins did it. So again, I had no problem with it. And then Suicide Squad came out back in August. And I knew going into this film that it was going to be a whole bunch of characters, not a lot of people that didn't read the Suicide, let alone a majority of DC Comics wouldn't know. I kind of walked in knowing that I was going to see a film that I wasn't really aware of the characters, let alone the story, and it ended up being actually a pretty fun film, and actually my second favorite DC Extended Universe movie thus far, after Batman vs Superman. I'm sorry, Man of Steel just kind of falls flat for me because he's still a Superman movie, but I'll admit it's the best one I've seen. So and hey, that just means the first installment isn't as good as the successors in said universe. So the fact that they're outdoing in some ways they outdo their previous installment or installments, that's got to be a plus in itself, in my opinion. But I kind of liked how they did Joker's cameos. I love how they did Harley Quinn for the first time. Will Smith. It finally made him into a good film yet again. I feel like the last good film he was in was I Am Legend, which still got mixed reviews. Probably before that was Hancock, which again got mixed reviews. Honestly, I think the last decent movie that he did was probably 2006's Pursuit of Happiness with his son, which is his son's only good movie. If you're not a fanboy of the Karate Kid 2010 with Jackie Chan. But I just love the characters. I like seeing Killer Croc. It was great seeing the Flash yet again for the 1 second that we did. Seeing his antagonist, Captain Boomerang, take the go into the spotlight. And just the whole approach of, even though these are villains and criminals, just how they were, despite the fact that they were obligated to listen to the government because of said destruction chip, just the fact that they were so willing to work with one another, even though they never really interacted with each other in the first place. It just kind of really, it just kind of gave me a new take on the fact that being a villain is sometimes a title. Like back in Batman vs. Superman, we kind of saw heroes, but they didn't see eye to eye. Whereas in Suicide Squad, we see villains, and they have a better sense of seeing eye to eye as opposed to one another, to the point that they start calling each other a family to one another, to where they're a little more lenient with Harley Quinn. They kind of, Deadshot even tries letting her go, saying that he missed the shot, trying to kill her. Just an all great movie, great soundtrack. It wasn't the best movie, but it was one of those movies. I think it was DC's fun to watch movie. It was a great fun to watch movie, and it held great with the rest of the other DC Extended Universe movies. I couldn't have pictured a great third installment before we get to Wonder Woman and Justice League and all the other Justice League and characters solo movies. I could have not have asked for a better, I guess, hiatus film for said moment. Anyway, and of course, I'm looking forward to the new Wonder Woman that's supposed to come out next June. That thing's just definitely history in the making, with it being the first major female heroine film with a female director and all that. Wonder Woman kind of had its chance back in 2004, I believe, but that one was kind of negatively received, and it wasn't really the best story, and that it was kind of somebody's own envision of Catwoman, nothing to do with the Batman stories whatsoever. So I'm kind of interested to see this one, especially since it does pay homage yet again to the comic books. And instead of centering on World War II, which has been a war that's been run to the ground so heavily, it's now focusing on World War I, one of the most forgotten wars out there, or one of the most overlooked wars out there, especially when it comes to 20th century wars, especially since it was called the Great War for a time, and the war to end all wars. So the fact that Wonder Woman's facing this, it fits perfectly with the 100 years with humanity comment that she said back in Dawn of Justice. The fact that she regained faith in humanity, which is something she said in Dawn of Justice. The fact that they said early on that this is a coming-of-age movie. All of that just sounds like it fits perfectly with where she was in Dawn of Justice 100 years later from said Wonder Woman film. And I think it definitely will set the pace for her character for the Justice League movie. And obviously the Justice League movie I'm definitely looking forward to. It's not even, it's less than a year when it comes out, and I definitely think a lot of DCEU fans are really hyped for that one, extremely. I think some of them even said that they're more hyped for that one than they are Star Wars Episode 8, let alone Star Wars Rogue One. So that's a great feat on its own, and after that we get Flash, Aquaman movies. James Wan is already saying Aquaman is going to be a great swashbuckling film that explores the entire ocean, which is pretty amazing in my opinion. Shazam, Cyborg, Justice League 2. We get the Batman, which is directed, co-written, produced, and starring Ben Affleck. We get the sequel to Man of Steel, which I'm actually looking forward to be honest. And from there, we get Marine Corps, Green Lantern Corps, which I'm curious to see how that one unfolds. It's just a whole list of movies that I'm definitely looking forward to for the DC Extended Universe, with said previous 3 films already being almost flawless, if not flawless, in my opinion so far. So definitely a thumbs up, if not 2 thumbs up for you guys involved with that, and I'm definitely looking forward to 2017 and onward. Anyway, that's my first portion of the video. My other portion of the video is kind of a little bashing. So if you don't like bashing towards rivalry, you can stop the video right now. If you want to see what the bashing is and see if it's even logical or makes sense, or if I'm just an idiot fanboy and all that, then go ahead and watch it, and I guess we'll go from there. But earlier this year, again, with DC Extended Universe films coming into the limelight, and Marvel with its 8th, 9th consecutive year making movies, I started off this year looking forward to seeing both movies. Okay, keep in mind, again, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been in production and development and releasing movies since 2008. I've seen all three I've seen all three Iron Mans in theaters. I saw the second two opening night. I actually kind of liked the sequels at the time, but everybody's telling me that they really fucked up the Mandarin, that the third one's just terrible. The second one used to get a lot of good reception. Now that one's being considered hard to watch, with them screwing up that villain as well. I've seen both Avengers, the two Avengers that have been out so far in theaters. I've seen all three Captain America movies, not all of them in theaters though. Saw the second Thor, saw Guardian. Basically, I've seen, out of the 14 films that are out right now, or out of the I guess at the beginning half of this year, the 13 films that were out, I saw all but two of them. That was Thor 1 and The Incredible